What's going on, guys? No Guides here. Welcome back to another video. And in today's video we're going to go over the formation that counters the 3-5-2, the 5-3-2, or any form of variation where there's three defenders and of course you have the wing backs or left mid and right mids going forward. So if your opponent is playing a 5-2-1-2, a 5-3-2, any of the three defender variations, this is a counter attack. In particular 5-3-2, because people are really struggling against this formation and playing against it. The first important thing is you need to understand it has to be an appropriate balance. You can't have, for example, a striker where you have 4 strikers on stay forward, because if you put all these players on stay forward, yet it's fine maybe for one attack, but if you play against someone who knows how to attack you back, you'll just hold the ball outside your box with his attacking players, and with 2 CDMs you'll get outnumbered. So basically all the 4 striker formations are basically out the question. There's 2 formations that really comes down to this 4-1-2-1-2. Now if you want, you can defend with these 3 players and have these 3 players on stay forward, but it's kind of 2 strikers and a cam. You want 3 strikers to be on stay forward. The only way you can actually feasibly do that is by having a 4-3-2-1. So what you'll do is you essentially have all your 3 strikers on stay forward and stay central. Now why this is important is, if you are defending, let's say your opponent has the ball, you want your 3 centre mids to defend. Now the benefit is you can ask them to get forward, but you don't have to put them on stay forward, so that way they'll still be able to defend. So the idea is you have 3 players centrally. But don't forget, when your opponent is playing a backline 3, he's going to have something like this, and if he's playing a 4-5-3-2 or a 5-2-1-2, normally the system is somewhat like this. The idea is that you're creating a 3v3 against his back, and then you're going to have 2 centre mids joining the attack. So therefore you have this situation where you have 5 players up against 5 of your players up against 3 of his, or at least 4 of his, including the central centre mid. That way you create that counter attack system. So let's go over to tactics instructions, and then we'll go over to the go over tactics first, then we'll go into the instructions. I'll explain how of course it all works as usual in the complete normal fashion. Now going over to defensive style, there is 2. This is maybe the one situation where I might suggest using drop back, just because if your opponent using a 5-3-2, and let's just say you really can't break down, obviously you'll use your normal formation first. If you know your opponent is a good guy and he's a good player, or he or she, and you know you can't break down, then it'll be worth changing this formation. You can either use drop back or you can use balance, because the idea is you don't want to be pressing. You want to basically soak up the pressure like a sponge, and then you want to spring forward. So I would say use balanced, but if you really are not comfortable with 5-3-2, you can use drop back. But again, I don't advocate this. This is the only formation I'd actually recommend drop back, but it's only because you've got 3 players on stay forward. It's kind of like counteracting the fact that you've got loads of players on stay forward. I would still go with balance, because I think with balanced AI also press by themselves, so you have that benefit, whereas drop back, your AI just stand there. Sometimes your opponent can run past you. That's why drop back is being heavily nerfed. For the width, we've gone with 4, tight and narrow as usual, very, very compact in the back. For the depth, we have left it on 5 on default, because you don't want to be too far back, because that means that your 3 strikers are going to be on stay forward. Okay, that's fine, but your opponent's back 3 are going to be on the halfway line. So you want your attacking front 3 to be somewhat over here, and then you want your centre mids to already be in a high reserved position. That way when you get the ball, your 2 centre mids and your 3 strikers are going to burst forward to create that situation where your opponent's back 3 gets isolated. So that's the key behind that. So you don't want to be too far back, but you don't want to be so far forward where your opponent can literally just pass the ball in between your CDMs. So we've left this on 5. For defensive style, we've gone with fast build-up play. The idea is, as soon as you're defending, as soon as you're being compact as possible in your sponge type system, fast build-up play is when you get the ball, everyone will start running forward. That's how you create the system where you overload and you create the counter-attack system. That's the only way you can break it through feasibly. You can still use the 3-5-2 up against the 3-5-2 or the 5-3-2 against 5-3-2. I do that as well. But some of you guys may struggle. So this is a system for you if you want a quick, fast method. The idea is you want to blitz your opponent before you can even think about what's going on. For the width, we've gone with 3. You want your 3 strikers to be very, very narrow, compact together. Because what happens is when your opponent has, for example, the back 3, his back 3 is almost spread out. So you want these 3 to be close together so you can do quick 1-2s between them. And you want the centre mids also when they go forward to join in and be in the central area. So we have, of course, the width on 3, and the players in the box, it's up to you. We left this on 6. It's default. I've just done some testing on 6, but of course the instructions can always alter that. For the free kicks and corners, I would recommend 1, because most of the time with these formations with 3 strikers on stay forward, you could get counted, so obviously do bear that in mind. So the instructions, as I mentioned, so you want your 3 players to be on stay forward. I'd recommend getting behind for all of them as well. So the idea is you have 3 strikers, or at least a striker and 2 wingers. You want these guys to be narrow. Don't forget you've got a 3 width. Stay central, get in behind, stay forward. As soon as you get the ball, they're going to be surging forward. So that's what you create, that back 3. So you've got a 3v3 situation, okay? Now let's say, for example, you want more players to come forward. What you will do is you'll have your right centre mid and your left centre mid both on get forward, cover centre. Now why this is important is, let's say, for example, you don't have the ball. If you just have, let's say you just have 2 CDMs. If your opponent's got, for example, I'm just going to use a 3-5-2 because I think it's a bit more superior. But let's say the 3-5-2 or the 5-2-1-2. If you have only 2 CDMs, you're going to have 2 CDMs defending almost 3 strikers. You are going to get counter-attacked. Anyone above goal 2 will absolutely wreck you unless you're a top tier player, and I'm talking about elite 2 plus to defend with just 2 centimeters, not even CDMs, centre mids. So do bear that in mind. So the idea is they're only going to get forward once you win the ball back. So you're going to be defending with basically 3 centre mids. Once you get the ball, then these guys will go forward, and then these guys will be on stay forward, just be basically running forward. That's how you create that 5 striker formation going through the middle. The central guy, we leave him on stay back while attacking, cover center and center edge of the box. Sometimes you might go forward and the chance might be lost. You need one guy, number 1, so if you get countered, he's there to recover. But number 2, more importantly, he's there as a backup. So if you're outside the box, and let's say you're outside the box, and let's just say in this situation over here, you're outside the box over here. If all your players are inside the box and your midfield, your back fours over here, and your CDMs over here, if you can't go forward, you'll have to go back to your CDM. So you need at least one guy to distribute the ball around. Don't forget, you can't just score from counterattacks every single time. It's not a very feasible option, especially against a better player. The left back and the right back, we have them on stay back while attacking. That's the first way. That's a very attacking approach. The second way is an even more attacking approach. We have the exact same systems. We have get forward for both the left centre mid and the right centre mid. The middle guy will drop between defenders, and left back and right back, we have them on join the attack, conservative and overlap. So what this means is, when you defend, you're going to be defending in the exact same way. You're going to have your bank of 4, your 3 centre mids, and you're going to have your kite type shape with your 3 strikers on stay forward. So it'd be good for you to defend the narrow area, very, very central. It's a very, very good formation, very, very compact for defending. Then when you get the ball, Cuadrado, or the person who's playing your centre back role, he will drop in to CDM will drop into a centre back role, kind of like thinking about that Busquets-esque kind of play. So that guy will drop in between, and that'll create a temporary back 3. Now don't forget, we are on fast build-up play. So then what's going to happen is these guys that are already on stay forward, they're going to be isolating your opponent's back 3, because your opponent's back 3 is going to be split up, and then you're going to have these guys joining the wing areas, and you're going to have the 2 central guys joining the attack. That is the best way you can counter-attack the system, because even if he defends perfectly, let's say, for example, if he's using, let's say he's using the 5-3-2, because everyone's using the 5-3-2. So let's say, for example, his back 3, so the best I can probably draw this out is somewhere over here, right? If I go over here to players in the box. So let's just say, for example, let's say this is your half, okay? So his back 3 is going to be here, and he's going to have, for example, his left mid, right mid, or left back, right back, his 2 strikers, and his 3 centre mids. You're going to have your striker, 3 strikers there. You're going to have your 3 centre mids here, and you're going to have your back 4. So at least you've got 4 players for every one of his attackers, and then at least you have 3 centre mids having an overall majority of numerical advantage in midfield. Then when you get the ball back, these guys will be a bit more centralised, and they'll be getting forward. These guys will join the attack, and the left back and right back will overlap. Even if he's the best defender in the world, he will not be able to defend the attack. but that's only the assumption is that you make use of the attack. And that's why we have this central player on drop between defenders, because let's say for example the chance becomes squandered. Let's say for example you go forward, your opponent somehow recovers, at least you got that temporary back three. If you just have two centre backs, you're going to get killed. So at least this way you got a backup option. So yes, when you go forward you might have no midfielders, but at least you got that backup option. So you have two variations. You got one where you have one CDM staying on midfield, staying back, where you can go forward. And the second variation is when all these guys go forward. As I said to you, if you want, you can use this. This is the best way to go about it. As I said to you, there's other formations. I've been testing formation like the 4-2-4 and blitz tactic. The issue is, with all these four guys on stay forward, only two centre mids, if you're versing maybe a gold 3 player who's playing a 5-3-2, it's all fun and dandy. I can tell you this is on paper the best formation to break down the 5-3-2. But number one, you have two strikers up against two centre backs, not that 3v2 situation if he does go into a back five. At least at that situation, you've got a numerical advantage. But number two, if your opponent has the ball and these guys on stay forward, to defend with just two centre mid players against 5 attackers, it's almost going to be a no-go. It's better for you to stay in the game, at least let it be 2-0 or 2-1, than for you to go down 3-0, because then it's completely game over. If you're 1-0 down, you don't want to go down 2-0. So be conservative, but also be very, very attacking. This is more of a counter-type-esque type formation, but you can still play it very, very attacking. If you find that it's too counter-attacking and you know they're going forward a bit too much, instead of putting get forward one of the centre mids, you can leave one of the centre mids unbalanced. That way you got that good balance in between. But anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget I do stream on twitch.tv/NilGuys. Link is down below in the description. And don't forget I got my Patreon series. You want to learn more information and more tactics, and of course more videos, in-depth videos, unlike my YouTube channels. I've got some more in-depth videos on my Patreon. Link is down below in the description. But anyway guys, thanks so much for watching. Take it easy and I'll catch you next time. Peace out.